If you can believe Basketball Reference, in NBA and ABA history, a total of 4,580 players have seen or will see NBA court. Jesus, that's a lot. And while normal people would look at their statistics and see how they performed, I acknowledge that I'm not normal. Hello everyone, I'm PRPLPRNCH, I'm also a geek, and I went through the complete list of all players who have played in NBA and ABA and wrote down the most common last names in the history of this game. Done laughing at me? Let's get to the subject then. I've collected 7 most common last names in NBA history. And we start our list with the 7th most popular last name in the NBA and ABA history, and it is Jackson. In the history, there have been 32 players whose last name was Jackson. Probably the most famous player is Mark Jackson, who is one of the best passing point guards in NBA history. Mark Jackson currently is 4th on NBA's all-time list of best passers. Another famous Jackson is one of the best coaches in NBA history, the only Hall of Famer in the group, Phil Jackson, who was also a player for 12 years but individually wasn't very impressive. He did win one championship though in 1973. Steven Jackson was a very good player for multiple teams and also has one championship with the Spurs in 2003. Jim Jackson was a very good scorer as well. As of today, there are currently 6 NBA players with the last name Jackson. That includes some good up-and-coming players in Josh Jackson, Justin Jackson, as well as a veteran guard Reggie Jackson. At number 6, we have a last name Davis. In history, there have been 40 players with the last name Davis. No Hall of Famers, but definitely one to come in the future. There's the 6-time All-Star Walter Davis, one of the best players in the history of Phoenix Suns. And some other known names to the world of NBA like Baron Davis, Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, Ricky Davis, and Ed Davis. Currently in the league there are 3 players whose last name is Davis. The best one by a mile is obviously Anthony Davis, a superstar, quite possibly the future MVP of the league, and even just after 6 seasons in NBA, he's already probably the best Davis that's ever played in the NBA. Our list continues with the last name Brown. In total, 40 Browns in NBA history. One of the biggest busts in recent NBA history, Kwame Brown, who is probably the most known player on this list. 2 Hall of Famers on this list as well. 4-time champion, one of the best Indiana Pacers ever, Roger Brown. And a Hall of Fame coach, Larry Brown, who just like Phil Jackson wasn't a great player, but was an excellent coach. A 3-time champion, Randy Brown, who was a bench warmer for Chicago Bulls in the 90s. Say thank you, Michael Jordan. A very good young player for the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown, who has a very bright future ahead of him and barring an injury should be an all-star. And the big cat, PJ Brown, who played in the league for 14 years and was a solid big man. Mostly players with the last name Brown weren't very good when it comes to individual statistics, but currently there are 5 players in the NBA with the last name Brown, and except Jaylen Brown, none of them has really shined yet. Our 4th most common last name is Smith. There have been 59 Smiths in the league, but no Hall of Famers. There's the 1978 NBA All-Star Game MVP Randy Smith, a very capable scorer and one of the faces of the Buffalo Braves' short stint in the NBA. The ultimate athlete, but a player who just couldn't ever change his playstyle, Josh Smith. Very solid player in his heyday with the Atlanta Hawks. Journeymans, Joe Smith, Charles Smith, and Ish Smith. Of course, the one Smith we all know is J.R. Smith, a champion and the most valuable player of the Game 1 NBA Finals in 2018. Ooh yeah. And we have a very athletic second-year player in Dennis Smith Jr. for the Mavericks, who in a combination with Luka Doncic should be the next faces of the Dallas Mavericks for years to come, once Dirk Nowitzki decides to retire. Currently, there are 4 Smiths in the NBA, J.R. Smith, Dennis Smith, Ish Smith, and Jason Smith. Good luck to all of them. We crack our top 3 with Jones, 2 Hall of Famers here. Both are players from the Boston Celtics dynasty in the 60s. Casey Jones and Sam Jones. There is also a 4-time All-Star and a 3-time All-ABA player, Larry Jones. Some other solid players in Caldwell Jones, Dante Jones, and Bobby Jones. And pretty much that's it. Currently, there are 4 players with the last name Jones. None of them has really made a big contribution to their team just yet. Our second place runner-up is the last name Johnson. In total, there have been 67 players with the last name Johnson, and there's quite a group of good and great players here. Let's start with 3 Hall of Famers. The most famous is Magic Johnson, a 12-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, 5-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, one of the best Lakers and NBA players of all time, a matchup nightmare because of his size and skills. There's no point in trying to mention all the accolades Magic Johnson has. There's a lot of them, so let's just move on. Gus Johnson is a 5-time All-Star, a 1973 ABA champion, and a Hall of Famer as well. He was one of the original faces of Baltimore Bullets, a double-double machine who unfortunately died at a pretty young age of 48. God rest his soul. The 3rd Hall of Famer is the 3-time NBA champion with the Celtics, Dennis Johnson, a key player for the Boston Celtics in the 80s. There are much more solid players here. 5-time All-NBA player Kevin Johnson, the Microwave 2-time NBA champion Vinnie Johnson, a well-known player and coach Avery Johnson, Joe Johnson, one of the best 6-man ever Eddie Johnson, and of course a very good Charlotte Hornet in Larry Johnson. Right now, there are 7 Johnsons in the NBA. Joe Johnson is still in the league and Amir Johnson plays some minutes here and there as well. There are a few more players I could mention, but let's move on to our winner. And our first place, the most common last name in the NBA, is Williams. 73 players with the last name Williams have played in the NBA. However, there are no Hall of Famers, just a couple of solid players. One of the best point guards at the start of 2000s, Deron Williams, but he's out of the league right now. One of LeBron's first sidekicks in Cleveland, Mo Williams, who even was able to make 1 All-Star appearance. One of the best 6-man, Lou Williams, who for now is the only good and reliable scorer on the Clippers. A 3-point specialist, Marvin Williams. The passing extraordinaire, white chocolate, Jason Williams. 2-time All-Star and 1979 champion, Gus Williams. A key role player for New Jersey Nets in the 80s, Buck Williams. A bust in Derek Williams, and a guy who played for 10 teams, Aaron Williams. Currently, in the NBA there are 5 players with the last name Williams. From those 5 you probably have heard of Lou Williams and Marvin Williams. The rest of the pack is still trying to prove themselves. Since there were so many players to check, I might have missed to mention someone. If so, please leave a comment below. This video made me to do a lot of counting, so I'll appreciate if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to this channel for future NBA content. Thanks for watching, guys. This was PRPLPRNCH, and I'm out.
Such a fucking hoe, I love it. You're such a fucking hoe, I love it. You're such a fucking hoe. When the first time they asked you, you want sparkling or still? Are you trying to act like you was drinking sparkling water before you came out here? You're such a fucking, I'm a sick fuck, I like a quick fuck.